So,
Hinting it.
they did, especially like taking like characters like Swerve, who only got what maybe a second of screen time, and like really gave him like a real personality and stuff like that. So like, you
I
know,
love his when he got infected with whatever virus it was that made him break the fourth wall, and he didn't even know it.
oh yeah, that was funny.
That's
Like the
right. That's
strong
right.
comic where he was like Seinfeld, and they had that like that little Seinfeld episode that was the comics or whatever. That was funny.
We're bringing you the pre-show. Let y'all get a taste of the pre-show. We're talking about Transformers comics. We'll
Oh
get to the
yeah.
reaction, but yeah.
What else I liked about it? I loved everything about it, honestly. Like World probably was my favorite character. He's just a complete.
He had so much depth. It was great.
He did. Like when they
His
made him a
whole arc.
watchmaker or whatever, and like how he had the little process and basically how he made Megatron. Like that was
Yep.
kind of funny. So
Yeah. Welcome to 3 Live Stream. I am your host, Pack, the owner and proprietor of 3 Live Stream. Who knows if that's correct, but that's what I'm going with tonight, guys. So most people in the Transformers community don't need an introduction when you got Dare 2727 over here. And we got the man, what did Pig for Life call Briag that one time? What did King of Lore? Yes, down here, anointed by Pig for Life is King of Lore Briag 45. What's up tonight, fellas?
Yo.
hey, what's up?
Yeah, we're gonna be talking. We're going to be doing a reaction video on the new Transformer Rise of the Beasts. I'll let you go ahead and bring up that second screen, Briag, and I'm going to go ahead and see who's here in the chat tonight. We got MCDC, Pop the Trunk, Pop. Let's see, oh man, we got Moto Frank 21 in the house. Don't be slipping on Moto Frank, Pop, and MC. And down here we got, oh man, Diamonds, the man. I say the man, but I'm wondering with a tag like Diamonds, is it a woman or is it a man? We don't know.
Could be Diamonds Are Forever and so Ric Flair. Could be like that.
Oh, could be, man. Could be. We got Raziel Kane in the house tonight, right off the bat. I'm not upset with anything I saw in that trailer. Stick around and you might be, sir.
Big M, what's up, Big M?
Yes, Big M, bro. What is happening? So hopefully we can get somebody like Big M on the show sometime, man. Been wanting to chop it up with him a little bit about some Transformers, about all kinds of stuff. He's usually in every show I do. So big ups and big shout outs to everybody in the chat. So I'm going to let y'all look at my tree for just a second. And I'm going to go get a beer and we're going to start this thing.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Pac for having us on, man. This is a good time. So it's definitely appreciated. So
says we're going to get to look at his tree as he rolls his chair in front of the tree.
Complete tree blocker, a cop blocker, a tree blocker, whatever.
Yeah, so. I solidly fucked that up. My bad.
It's all good.
And big shout outs to M3. What's up, Marcos? And Big Stan, Cobra Viper, Ramrod. Who else might I be missing? I always hate doing the shout. I love doing them, but I hate because if I miss a person that I shouldn't, I feel bad. So
everybody knows
I've added the video to the
shout out to everybody shout out to the whole chat squad. We'll just make it easy and just do the big thing or whatever. So
go ahead, Briag.
I've added the video to the the studio presentation.
All right, y'all just yell at me. First, we're gonna do a sound check to make sure it's loud enough because somebody told me when I shared the screen I have to turn my volume way the fuck up. So we'll do a sound check first to make sure it can be heard. And if y'all hear any noise in the background, just let me know, okay? So let's give it a try and let's go here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a reaction while we watch it, and then afterwards we're going to talk Transformers. Sound good?
Yep. What's up, Papa?
Yeah. It was all a dream.
Go ahead and pause. Can everybody hear that well?
It's coming through my sound well.
Okay, chat. Can you hear that good? Could do a little test sound for him, Briag. Okay, pause. Okay, start over. We're gonna go officially start this thing because we did a little a little test here. But go ahead and pause frequently. Anytime anybody wants to say something, pause frequently. It looks like. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was all a dream.
Okay, pause. So, what are your thoughts on that opening? As you see that, what do you think? I kind of get a heavy, still Bay vibe feel. But go ahead, Dare. Your
muted,
mic is
Dare.
muted.
Sorry, I was on mute. First, I got three things from that one little part of the clip you played. The first thing is shout out to them for using Notorious Big or whatever. So, little shout out on the music. The second thing, I agree with you, Pat, man. I thought it was a Bay verse again, you know, and we can talk more about that later. And my third thing was like, oh, cool, they brought jazz back. So those are my first three things just off seeing that.
So I love that they are using the 80s cars, very familiar cars. Yeah, it does look like Bayverse, but like after he transforms, it does look like they're using more vehicle parts, kind of a mix between like the very wiry look of the Bayverse, but also the Bumblebee look. I guess if that makes any sense. Like it looks like they purposely tried to add a little more G1 to it, which I always appreciate.
I see that.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Briag. I know that this part right here has to have an emotion or reaction for you.
I mean, when I see it, it's crazy thinking that they're going to bring Beast Wars in and it's going to be in the same timeline as Transformers. Versus like, you know, the original Beast Wars, they were descendants of Autobots, Decepticons, and they went back in time by accident, or at least they Maximals went back in time by accident following the Predacons. It's just kind of neat, and just seeing him run in there, pound his chest, like it makes you think of King Kong because he's a gorilla. But if you look at the alt mode and the designs, like it really works. Because, you know, the old Bay designs, I remember a lot of people complaining that they looked too humanoid, too insect-like, which, I mean, if that's the case, it really lends itself to beast modes. And I don't know, it just looks good to me. But seeing Optimus Primal is really just a wow factor for me.
Go ahead, Dare. But anytime you guys want to pause, just voice your opinion when you want to pause. Go ahead, Dare.
I think that you remember how we got the feels when we saw Prime first appear on the live action movie. I would think that, like, if you're the Beast Wars fan, this got to give you those feels, right? Because he comes in, your first time seeing Optimus Primal, he comes in such an iconic way. He jumps down in the alt mode, pounds his chest or whatever. I think the design is beautiful. I think that they did a really good job of like making them look like an ape, but also having those mechanical components too, right? So it didn't really look like we have a famous gorilla here in Atlanta that was called Willie B. It didn't look like a real gorilla. It looked like kind of a mechanical gorilla, and I think they did a really good job of doing that. And I just feel like if you're a Beast Wars fan, I think they just got to see chills up your spine or whatever. So,
Big M says, I feel like, why is that not showing? Come on.
It's putting it behind the video tile.
Yeah, sorry about that. He says that Big M says, I feel like the movie is going to have a lot of similarities to the Netflix War for Cybertron Kingdom.
Would you say that's a good thing or a bad thing? Anybody?
I would say that's a meh thing for me. It doesn't evoke emotion.
I mean, I liked Siege Kingdom. The story was kind of out there. I mean, I know those were meant to sell toys immediately, but I don't know. maybe it will, maybe it won't. I know Ron Perlman is doing his voice again, and while it would have been nice and fun to have some of the original voice actors, I do know that when it was originally brought up that Ron Perlman was doing the voice again, they did say that Gary Chalk absolutely approved of Ron Perlman doing the Primal voice. So I think that's pretty cool, Gary Chalk.
All right. Go ahead. And just let everybody know there will be an after party on Through Live Stream after this show is over. Go ahead.
Stand down.
I'm not the one to fear, Prime. There is a darkness coming.
Don't stop. I know we stopped at a kind of weird spot. I thought it was a cool stare down between both of the primes or whatever. Like no context, knowing nothing, just seeing Prime versus Primal, quote unquote Prime versus Primal. I thought that was a cool visual or whatever. So,
yep, yeah. The first time you hear the voice, the voice seems to really fit.
Yeah. That's the one that was like Ron Perlman is gonna be all right doing this thing or whatever. So yeah.
Yep.
It was all a dream. Pull over! I'm not driving.
So, in the beginning, Dare, you had said something about jazz, right?
Yeah.
But according to what I'm knowing, this is not jazz.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
Okay.
I wanted to say one of the things that that little sequence reminded me of was the first going back to the first Transformers movie when kind of Shia LaBeouf saw Bumblebee and like the Autobot symbol kind of flashed or whatever. And it seems like this young man, whoever he is, doesn't know what an Autobot is and what a Transformer is. So like, I hope they're not retelling that part of the original story again, just with a different car and a different boy. That's kind of one of my concerns or whatever. So
yeah.
Yeah,
I do like that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go.
I do like that. Just a little thing that you notice when Bumblebee transformed. If you compare that transformation of that, is it a 70s model Corvette? I think Camaro. Sorry, versus his original Camaro transformation in the first Transformers. The transformations in the original, there was a bunch of tiny moving parts and plates, whereas this one, you just see the whole hood of the thing come down on his chest. Like they simplified it, and I appreciate that. Like it's less busy, I guess.
Right. And there's some people in the chat who have like some questions, like Diamond says, how will they battle Animal versus Autobot? I think we may address that a little. Make sure I don't forget that, guys. And Big M says, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's going to set up Unicron as the big bad of the next couple movies.
Could.
Yeah, that was in reference to the War for Sight, the Netflix siege and that question or whatever. So
yeah.
Now you know.
Plastic Mirage.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Can you get a shot of Cheetor running beside Bumblebee? Can you get a still? So before we get into this, the dude that the main actor, you know, like it reminds me of Sam. He was always screaming, dude. That scream sounded just like Sam.
Like that sequence when and you know, now we can say we know it's not Jazz, it's Mirage or whatever, just because of the little power that you seen. When he did his thing, like you said, that just reminded me of a sequence of like Sam and Bumblebee, just with a different car, a different person or whatever. But like that whole shock or whatever. So like it kind of relived some of those memories for me. Not good or bad thing, it just relived some of those memories for me.
Right. We're gonna continue that. Diamond says less parts, so when the so on. Diamond says less parts, so when they toys, they can't make excuse for expensive toys. Just thought I'd say that now. Yeah, less
He knows
parts.
what's up.
Yeah. So I wanted to get people's thoughts on this still, because this, I'm going to kind of go first here. What I noticed, Bumblebee's alt mode is changing. It's pretty fucking cool. I really dig that car with that. So I'm hoping somehow, some way, whether it's Jada Toys or they actually do a good representation of this, I would like a good alt mode of this for my collection. I really like that. Like I said, I'll go on the screen first, but Cheetor, obviously, Cheetor is a big time favorite in the world of Beast Wars, correct?
He was one of the big ones. Like, he would have been kind of a mix between Bumblebee and Hot Rod from the original G1 into the original Beast Wars show, kind of having kind of a comeuppance where he was, young and daring, I guess, kind of like Hot Rod was, but he was also big on espionage and fan favorite, kind of friendly like Bumblebee. And later on, when it gets to the Beast Machines part, he's wanting to actually take leadership. He's kind of brash about it, which still is kind of a Hot Rod trait. So I don't know what that's going to say about his character in this particular movie, but hope it ends up being cool.
Oh my God. Diamond says, yeah, this Bumblebee, let's hope Jada does it so we can get the big meat pizza. If anybody watches my Hot Wheels hunts, they know what extra meat pizza is all about. Go ahead, Dare. I also noticed on this, not just the car, but the size of Cheetor's alt mode. It is really large. Go ahead, Dare.
Yeah, so like I noticed that, and I noticed, like, again, they're keeping the mechanical part. So I like the fact that they're not trying to make him look like a real cheetah or whatever. So you kind of know that what it is or whatever. And as far as Bumblebee, I don't know if that's Mad Max, but I like that upgrade kit like that's put on them. I hope that kind of ties into the story, because I don't know if Bumblebee is going to be a main character in this. It seems like Mirage is going to be kind of the Bumblebee of this particular movie. And I don't know if Bumblebee's going to be like a fallback character or whatever, or if he is still one of the main characters, will they give him, like, one, will he be able to talk, and two, will they show how his alt mode comes from, if they're using past Bumblebees as kind of a reference, will they show how he gets that alt mode as opposed to like what we are used to seeing with Bumblebee or whatever. So
it kind of, seeing them so far, like he kind of looks like, like a gargoyle. It's a statue, right? First, and then it's a gargoyle. That looks like something that's kind of made out of some kind of stone, or from that shot. Just that's kind of my feel what it is. But before we go on, Briggs, so any thoughts when you first see Cheetor? Like you may have seen him on other stuff. I've been keeping kind of low key on the info for this. But what was your thoughts when you first saw the Cheetor?
So one, I know the original Beast Wars, they were ultra realistic because they had to be wrapped completely in organic material to guard from all the excessive energon on the planet, because it was a primordial state. We don't have that here. So I like that the animals, and you can see all the like separation lines and all his plating. So he can move like a cheetah. You can tell he's robotic. He's a transformer. One little detail that's probably insignificant to most people, the original Beast Wars, the eyes actually had pupils, and I'm glad that they're not doing pupils for robotic beasts.
They did that, I think, on the MP, and it made it look less intimidating and less kind of, it made it look like a kiddie toy almost, or a kiddie thing.
Yeah,
not like
they were going graphic animation accurate on that.
Yeah. And that was a problem, because, like, he looks intimidating, right? He looks like you would want a robot cheetah to look. Let me say it like this. Whereas in that previous iteration, he looked more like, a pussycat, for lack of a better term. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I will say this before we go on, because Big Stan's in the house. I'm going to read his comment the best way I can, maybe the way Big Stan, not the way Big Stan reads it, because nobody can talk like Big Stan, but Big Stan says, what up and what's happening, 3 Live Universe? More than meets the eye, baby. Robots in disguise, baby. Yeah. Go ahead.
And if you don't know, now you know. I'm blowing up like
Let's do a shot real quick. Pause on Air Razor. with the fire at the dam.
Apparently, I'm not real good at this.
No, it's fine. It's a live right there. Okay, Beast. So I don't know your background with Beast Wars there, but I know Briag 45 is heavy into Beast Wars mythology and the toys, and he's taught me a lot about them. Whereas I was like, look, I don't really enjoy them, but he's kind of taught me some of the lore and what it's about, and I enjoy quite a bit of it now. But what's your thoughts on Air Razor with that dragon-esque fire type deal right there?
So I'm gonna be perfectly transparent. I'm not the biggest Beast Wars fan. Like I could say, like in general, they contributed some important things like stasis lock, kind of like you said, the energon, some of those things. And I know who he is, but I'm not the biggest fan. So I don't even remember him having that ability in the original Beast Wars. So Brad can correct me here. But like it seemed kind of weird just in general because a falcon shouldn't, or a hawk or whatever type of bird he was, he shouldn't be blowing fire. But that was just my length and breadth of thoughts about it. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. Air Razor is technically a female, I guess. So she was real small, she was agile, and she had rockets that she shot from her wrists, kind of like how Starscream has shoulder cannons. She had like wrist cannons. And I never saw her actually do any kind of laser or anything like that in the original Beast Wars show. But it doesn't turn me off to it. Something that I like is that, from what I can tell, it looks like all the Beast Wars characters are in South America or something. Maybe with the Aztecs or Mayans. Maybe they've been here a long time. And they had lots of gods that were based on animals. One of them being Quetzalcoatl. I hope I'm saying that right. And that was a bird-like beast. And what are you shaking your head about, Pat?
Motherfucking king of lore. That's why he's
you won't
king
get
of
that
lore.
nowhere else but the 3 live stream, man. So shout out to Greg and Pat for making that happen.
But that particular god could have been reimagined as a phoenix, and maybe that's what Air Razor represents. I know that's kind of reaching for what could be happening. Big M says, I think they're in Peru. That's probably correct. They're probably a lot more than I know on it. But it doesn't hurt my feelings. I do like that they gave, I don't know if it's going to be a him or a her, but them, I'm glad they gave that particular robot some sort of heavy fire. Maybe it'll, I don't know, prove to be useful in the movie.
Shout out Corey Murray. Corey Viper showed up. He ain't going to stay long, he said, but thanks for stopping in, man. And Mark Cosplay is here. Bro, what's up, and happy holidays to everybody in the chat, everybody watching this out there. Hope everybody is safe and enjoys and has a blessed holiday season.
Same to you. I remember Air Razor being small. I didn't know she was a female. So like I would like for her to still be a female. Just get different female characters outside of RC would be cool.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they would have made her smaller. Maybe she is smaller. It's just maybe the perspective of this video, but I would like to see her be a little smaller so it's not as obvious, but
it'd be nice. I mean, I remember back in G1, people complained that there wasn't enough female robots, and we've gotten a lot more female characters over the years, and it'd be nice to just keep this one the way it is.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
I'm sure we're going to want to pause it when we come to the RC, probably.
Okay, I'll pause it.
Very.
You're muted, Pac.
I keep messing it up. Here's the humanoid factor. I think she's very humanoid, but very, extremely G1, especially with the visor and all. I saw this, I'm like, way better than the Bayverse RC, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
1,000%.
1,000%. I know her alt mode is a bike, and I forget what kind. I think it was supposed to be like something with an M, like a Maserati or something. It's supposed to be like a really expensive bike.
Maybe a
But
Ducati.
Ducati, yeah, there you go. But her helmet, adding the visor at all times like that, just makes me think of somebody that's riding a bike. Looks like she's a like a rice rocket type biker.
If you are a bike, look like a bike, I guess is kind of what you're saying. So, and kind of I always had an X-wing type feel with RC a little bit, and this is even more like, so the X-wing fighters had like their helmet looks very, very much like that. Looks like there's just some cues taken from that. And Big M says, I'm digging the shit out of this RC.
Yeah.
I am too, Big M, especially when we get to later on in the video when they show like the full view of her. I really like what they did with her aesthetically. So
Right. Yep. Diamond says we can let girls in, but if it turns out into a feminist movie, unsubscribe from the movie.
Well, that's the good thing about bots. Hopefully those type of agendas can kind of stay away or whatever. So like, and you know, not to turn this into anything else. That's been one of my problems with pretty much every iteration of Transformers, not the 1986 movies, that they make it less about the bots and more about the people. You know, I wish they kept it more about the bots or whatever. So
that is something that's exciting about this one, is we've already seen a good handful of robots, and it just makes me really hopeful that they're going to focus more on robots.
Yeah, like that's, for some reason, that's always like Transformer movies kryptonite. Like they make it like a boy and his dog, and instead of this case, the dog is a big robot or whatever. So
what's up, says Zeta TF, bro? What's happening tonight? Yeah, the pronouns in Earthspeak was questionable. Yeah, I haven't watched that. It seems a little too much on the kiddie side of stuff for me. That's not my deal. Let's go ahead and roll this on.
Of all the threats.
So we go back to when RC and the van were together.
We got him working overtime, baby. Hey, we got the production. We got good one. Good one. Go ahead.
Yeah, so to Big M's point, I love this RC visually, but I want to ask, you know, the van is supposed to be wheeljack. How do you guys feel about it?
Oh my god. Do we want to touch base on this after? Okay, so this is wheeljack?
That's what everything I read said. This is supposed to be wheeljack.
Lord. I think I'm going to touch base on that. And Prophet Director's in the house. He says, in a good Transformers movie, the bots would be the people.
Shout out to Prophet Director. I love his content. So
Prophet Director, man, he's very witty. He has a very cool style about him. But I think I'm going to touch base on the character changes, whether it be alt modes, colors, aesthetics. I'm going to touch base on that after.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Good point to bring up. Good.
Of all the threats. From both your past.
Sorry.
What's that?
Can we get a shot of the bad guy's face? Yeah, I'm not going to go into this now because we got some stuff to talk about afterwards. Vibes on his face. What kind of vibes do you get, Briag?
When I look at it immediately, I see a movie version of Tarn. Yeah. Like they tried to kind of put the Decepticon logo up there, even though I know it's not Decepticon, it's supposed to be Terrorcons. But it looks like he's wearing the insignia on his face.
That was kind of, Tarn. Then I was like, they're not going to use Tarn, but I wish they did use some form of DJD concepts or whatever. If they're not going to bring in the whole team, like if it could have been like a lower member, like Voss or something. I know it's not or whatever, but like kind of like what Briac said, it gave me like Tarn / DJD / not, a Predacon or, not a Decepticon, no bad guy, unusual bad guy that we think of. So I agree with that.
I'm going to give some thoughts on the bad guy too, just kind of get through the trailer a little bit, but I'll reference these points. These are things already in my head. Mark Cosplay says, if that's Wheeljack, that hurts Hasbro. That hurts a lot. And Diamond says, agreed, Zeta. They really brought it down. They could have made it a lot better without the pronouns. And Prophet Director says the Destroyer from Thor is the kind of vibe he gets. Let's roll it on unless somebody wants to go.
No, that's all I had to say.
From both your past and future,
That's
you've
very
never
first
faced
movie
anything like this.
part. That's very. It's. I know it's canon. It's canon in the real life movie. It's how they transport from planets. I guess they're still doing the pods. What do they call them? So in the first movie, all the Cybertronians came to Earth in those pods.
I thought they call them stasis pods.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of like visuals I see with terrain, towns, jungles. A lot of it has a very like they shot in similar places as they did with the first Babe movies. But Prime's aesthetic, I don't know if it's going to look better at the final scene or if I'm just missing it, but his aesthetic looks off a little bit on the way he looks.
Yeah, they went with more boxy, because they did change everything up to have a more. So when they're in their robotic bodies, it looks like they have more car parts on them, so it looks a little more original.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and give him an image to look at while we talk. But you got anything else there?
No, that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like there's a good back view of Bumblebee, RC, Mirage, and Prime.
Wonder where that's at. Wonder where that's at. Any guesses on where that might be?
It looks kind of like a sundial system, kind of like the
Was that Greece?
Stonehenge, but it's probably over in South America.
I think it's in the Andes Mountains somewhere. Like whoever said that earlier, that it's in South America. I think this is actually in South America. So
Yeah, they said Peru. Someone
yeah,
said Peru.
Big M said whoever said. I think they're right. I think this may be something like in the Andes in Peru, like in the Andes run through Peru. I think so. I think there's something in there. So
Your past and future. You've never faced any.
Just so you can pause and see kind of more of Prime and with more of the actual truck parts and stuff. So I don't know. I think they did a kind of a good job redesigning it to be a little more familiar for the older audience. Yeah,
what were your
Zeta
thoughts when
TF
you saw
says Peru.
Rhinox?
Loved it. It's kind of weird seeing his tongue stick out of that little generator thing in his mouth because it looks exactly like that hollowness that was in Galvatron that he used to shred Prime's arm. But I wish they could have gotten the original voice actor for him because I love that guy. He still does work. But it is David Sobolov that's doing the voice, and he was Depth Charge in Beast Wars. He's going to do Rhinox and one other character. So they did at least get one guy.
Okay, because Rhinox is like the Ironhide, right? Or like he's like the number 2 guy to Primal, right?
Yeah, he's basically kind of second in charge to Primal. And in the original Beast Wars, not only is he an engineering genius, he's also almost all the muscle. Very smart on the battlefield. I wouldn't say he's as strong a fighter as what Dinobot is or what Primal is, but he can definitely hold his own. I mean, there's a couple scenes where he completely trashes Megatron by himself. So I guess it depends on his mood. He's kind of if you remember from Transformers Prime or Transformers Animated, how Bulkhead was a genius at space bridges and was all just like robust fighting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, except he was more of an all-around genius.
Okay. I remember the episode in Prime where Buckhead got what happened to Buckhead, and he wound up becoming a genius but losing his memory at the same time or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thing like this. Let them come.
Good stuff.
I'm gonna go ahead and remove that if we're done watching that.
Yep.
But let's go ahead and get into some discussion. I mean, you guys can tell me when it's time to tap out. But look at that, Briag with his Transformers shirt on. We got Transformers in the background tonight. We got ID Dub discussions early on. So there was a couple things I wanted to touch on. Somebody in chat had a question. I said I didn't want to forget.
When about the Autobots versus the
Yeah, okay, so it's right here. And we'll go through the chat. We'll go through kind of some of the Diamond says, how will they battle animal versus automobile? What do you think, Dare?
I don't think they're gonna battle. I think they're gonna keep the animals versus the animals and the automobile versus the planes or whatever, if that's the case or whatever. The automobile versus automobiles. I don't think they're gonna do any. If they do any cross bot fighting, I think it'll be very little or whatever. So.
All right. So, any thoughts on that? Oh, what's up, Jeezy Crazy? What up, bro? Dumbest Dugan's in the house. Dumbest Dugan sends me some funny gifts, bro. Any thoughts on that before we move on, Briag?
Just referencing that kind of that last scene where you saw like both sides rushing into battle. First, you saw a lot of robots. You couldn't make out all of them. But it looks like the majority of them were transforming into robot form to fight. But if they do have some maybe animal versus vehicle forms, it'll probably be a lot like, I don't know, more like the animals will probably grab some of the vehicles and throw them around or jump on them and start smashing them while the vehicles are trying to shoot them with missiles or something. But I bet most of the fighting will be robot to robot.
Yeah. Mark Cosplay says, I really, really don't want to see any humans. I don't mind some human interaction. It doesn't bother me. I learned that with the Transformer IDW comics. So I always thought, I would like nothing but robots. But in Transformers, the Escalation, Devastation, Infiltration with Hunter O'Neill and what are the other ones, Briag? Hunter O'Neill?
Verity Carlo and Jimmy Pink.
Jimmy P.
When they did those human interactions, I was just like, man, that's good human interaction right there. So if it's done correctly and not cheesy, Sam was over the top, but I thought he worked good in the first movie. I think done right, humans are very well done because they display a Titan type aspect to the movie. Look, you seeing, what we are to they are. But a lot of times it's not the human interaction. It doesn't seem like it's done correctly. So it gets a bad rap, but it can be done good.
I would like to see it more about more robots, Transformers being the focal point. If we have humans, they need to be supporting characters. Whereas like the past several Transformers, it's been more focused around what's happening on Earth, and Transformers feel like the supporting roles instead of the main role. And maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
Yeah, unless it's Megan Fox, then don't bother. Come on now.
I completely agree with you. Like I said, I think that they always bring Transformers down to Earth level or human level, like at least mentally. And I think that one of the things they don't explore is that, Transformers have their own emotions, their own thoughts and stuff like that. And I always feel like they use them as kind of, and I said this earlier, I think they just use them as pets to like whatever human is the main person. Like even in the Bumblebee movie, that was such a good movie. It was really about that young, that everybody loves a lot. I'm not the biggest fan. It's about the girl becoming a teenager, kind of coming into her own. And Bumblebee is just like the lassie to her car to that path on her becoming a young woman or whatever, Whereas I thought it was much more interesting them hunting Bumblebee for the location of where Optimus Prime was. And the movie didn't deal with that as much as I would have liked for. So
yeah,
I think that, to answer the question, I think that Mark's question, I think it's going to be humans. I always look for like the number of humans. The number of humans tell you how much it's going to be about humans or whatever. So like, I think in
Yeah.
that shot where they showed like at that monument we were trying to think of, I think it was four or five bots with 4 or 5 humans. So maybe they do a Transformers Prime thing there or something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, a long time ago they figured out that the best way to move their at least television series was 3 seasons and only have a handful of characters on each side and then roll a couple extra characters in each season and to stop trying to focus on tons of bots. And while I see that, I also kind of reminisce about the IDW comic. If you think about All Hell Megatron and what happened in that series, basically there was a bunch of big fighting and all of that ended. And it seemed like for 2 years there was nothing. And then the Decepticons just come in and start decimating the earth. So the role the humans had was, oh shit, we're being scared. How do we retaliate? And humans had to hurry up and evolve to fight the Transformers. But most of the comics was just Decepticons destroying the earth, Autobots regrouping on Cybertron, humans being destroyed. And then, the humans make a small comeback, but it was still very focused on the giant robots.
Yeah. I mean, to you guys' point, you can do that. I just don't know if it's been done good in live action yet or whatever. So
No, not yet.
yeah, so hopefully
We can hope.
Yeah, continue on, guys. Anything you guys want to talk about, I can come on with ideas, but I know that me and Dare had talked a little bit, and me and Briag had talked a little bit. Shout out to Briag. He brought the trailer to my attention, and it was out the day that it came out. And big shout out to Briag and Ramrod. We do the comic series, but they would like to do it more than what I could fit it in. So they're very patient with me, and I do respect that. But once we do it, we try to do it well. And so we'll probably have a lot of comic references, but Dare had brought right off the rip about what's up, M3? M3's in the house.
What up?
M3 was good.
Yeah. You can find me and him in the after party tonight. So I will be drinking hard liquor on that show tonight, fellas. I'll be getting down with it tonight, bro. But so refresh me a little bit, Dare, on what we were talking about. I posed a question, but refresh me a little bit.
We were talking about Bayverse, like all live action movies, Bayverse.
Okay, so is it so everybody likes to categorize or label everything? Transformers no different. Chug, MP, whatever. So is every live action movie now just Bayverse? You get what I'm saying? So what's Bayverse? It's Bayverse because this isn't Bay, but it's still. I find myself saying, "Oh, Bayverse." What do you guys think? Do you think every live action movie is now just considered Bayverse?
Can I go first? Yes. Long story short, and I think that part of that is the problem with the Transformers brand. I think that Michael Bay he's taken a poop over the whole brand. That every time you see a certain type of media, you think of him. And I think that that's like, as much as people like the Bumblebee movie, that's not enough to get off the stench of Michael Bay and what he did to the Transformers brand in the live action. Because the first one, the first one and Dark of the Moon, I think the one with Cinema Prime, they were decent movies. But the other ones are so crappy, like he just took the brand and like just completely shitted on the brand or pooped on the brand. Excuse me, I shouldn't curse or whatever. So
if you're good with saying it, bro, you know how it rolls over here on 3 Live. You ain't got to apologize.
Yeah, hopefully you monetize and getting a lot of money, click throughs on this. So
no, I have not monetized. I have everything I need, but I said, you know what? I'm still going to be me. I have a whole. I can explain to you why I've not monetized, but it's for personal reasons. But Mark Cosplay says Bumblebee movie is clickbait. The trailer showed Autobots on Cybertron, and we basically got almost all the minutes of Cybertron in the trailer for the movie. That's how things work today. I do want to touch base on what topic was, and Briag still needs to go. But with Dare, we're going to give our opinions. Whether we're pro something or con or against something, we're not trying to persuade anybody. So if Dare doesn't like something, if I don't like something, we all listen to each other. There's lots of times I don't like something, but Briag, M3, Big Stan, Dare, Viper, Ramrod, whoever it may be, will will say what they think, and I'll be like, well, wait a minute, I never thought about it like that. And they'll bring something to me and make me enjoy something that I didn't get out of before. So I think go ahead, Briag, on that question.
So regarding the movie verse, I think it will always have Bayverse attached to it. Part of that is because Bay was the director and co-writer of the first 5. He was a producer for Bumblebee, and he is the producer of this one, and he is also helping direct on the side. So he still got touches into it, but you can definitely tell from Bumblebee that it stepped a little bit further back from what they were doing with those first 5 movies. I think Michael Bay suffers from always trying to go big, like huge big. Think of where the storyline went from Transformers 1 to 5. We went from Autobots landing to these massive historical battles of these old primes, Sentinel Prime, Megatron dying twice, and then Unicron and Quintessa. That is too big for just 5 movies. Even they pulled in the old legends of the Knights of the Round and Merlin.
Yeah.
You're grasping a lot of lore to mix into the Transformers universe, and
very ADD. Today's society is very ADD, where instead of concentrating on an ideal or a particular story arc, it's just so spread out over a lot.
Right. And I mean, sometimes it makes me think he was working too hard to try and make that work. And then there's also the thought of you're going for a low-hanging fruit using old lore just to say it's Transformers tech, when he had complete license to write a whole story of whatever he wanted. He could have made this anything he wanted.
I think I'm sorry to cut you off. I think Brad, you just said the right thing. He had complete control, and I think that was the problem in the brand, right? And so, I think that one of the things that Transformers, if they, and they couldn't have did this, while Transformers was going and pack bread, you guys said it best, it was moving in the ADHD capacity, right? Like, hey, what can we do really fun this movie? Okay, what can we do really fun this movie? 5 completely different movies that the only thing is the same prime Bumblebee for the most part, right? Like everything, and it's some different, they're different every movie. Whereas like if you look at the Marvel, while they were going the same pace, right? Like they were taking their movies and telling some integral story that you needed a piece of each movie to kind of tell a part of, right? And they both were using the same kind of material, right? Like Marvel was using their comics, like Transformers could have used their comics and told the story or whatever. Like, and I'm not even talking to IDW. They could have went the whole Marvel path and told one of those stories or whatever, right? But like they didn't, they let him have too much control, and like somebody should have been able to reel him in at some point. And to your point, I think he did that in Bumblebee, and was like, look, we're just gonna take this back a couple of notches. Let's focus on a fewer characters. Let's kind of make it a more Bumblebee movie, and like it doesn't have to be super huge. Let's just make this a good standalone movie, and then we'll go from there. And so, like, I think that's what they should have did with those Transformer movies in general. So,
yeah, watch out, Diamonds. I'm the owner and proprietor of 3 Live Stream. Yeah, you gotta watch out for the terms and conditions if you're posting some of the fucking content I put out there, bro.
I think some of the with like Bumblebee, that they took a step back, and I think it was a litmus test for deciding if they needed to relaunch or if they were going to retcon and make that the beginning of the Bayverse. It seems like now that's what they did, is they retconned, because they're showing the Transformers already on Earth, Optimus Prime included. So that means in the first movie they're not coming down with their stasis pods.
They're making
them leaving again.
They're making it very confusing on the timeline for this shit too, in my opinion. Maybe I'm missing something, but it seems very confusing. Is it being rebooted? Is this prequel? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Bumblebee, they said it could be both, and they left it at that, and they kind of went back and forth with it.
So, go ahead.
But in regards to Transformers content, I'm always excited when something new comes out, because even if it's not going to be for me, that's another opportunity to pull in more fan base and more people to, latch onto something that they relate with. If they can relate to it, they can get into the bigger community, and it makes us bigger. It expands our camaraderie. But new ideas, new people getting to touch things, it helps. It develops the lore, and hopefully that just means there's a little something for everybody in Transformers.
Pat, can I say something real quick, and then I'll let you go? Whatever, regardless of what I say about Bayverse or whatever we say as individuals about Bayverse, Michael Bay did breathe new life back in the Transformers with those live action movies, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, whether we like them or hate them, like that was a brand that was
07 was fire. 07 was fire. 07 was fire.
Yeah, the first one, like, he took a brand that was literally just collecting dust, cobwebs on the shelf, and brought it back and brought new life into it. Now, there's something to be said about that. I have a whole gang of MP Bayverse toys, and I wouldn't have those if he didn't do the movies. So, like, basically, it's something to be said to that, and to Briag's point. So that's all I want to say, Pat.
Yeah, definitely. While we do have people do need to be held accountable. There's just a lot of shit in there that's just, for my preferences, garbage. Okay. So 07, really like what they did. They could not connect on that magic on the second one for my personal preferences. Sentinel Prime coming around on the third was fire for me. Now, the movie wasn't fire enough, though. Sentinel Prime, it was amazing. I liked the fact of, hey, let's bring another Prime in that had power, that had clout. Let's bring in some history here. But just combobulated and jumbled up with too much action scenes, too much trying to fit human characters in that don't fit properly. AOE, I'm one of the only ones that really like that. I like the fact that they showed death, real consequences. Yes, I think the first hour and 45 minutes is a lot better than the last. What was that movie? Almost 3 hours? Is that movie almost 3 hours?
Yeah.
So when I think of that movie, I hold like the first hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours good. After they went and they did the Dinobots, which was supposed to be fire, I lost interest. I'm like, this is messed up. This is messy. You made me wait 2 hours or more for Dinobots. Fuck out of here with that. So the last movie could not connect with. Even the fact that I love Nemesis Prime, Quintessa, I thought would be a great character to explore. But once again, you're trying to fit 5 pounds of potatoes into, or 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound bag. There's some fire there, but it's not executed well. And hearing Briag say that Bay is involved with Bumblebee and this new movie on some aspect, you can still see he is. He needs to be removed from the franchise. See what we can do going forward. Because when we're watching the trailer, we're like, I see Bay stuff. I see Bay style. I see this. We need somebody to breathe freshness into this before he kills it, in my opinion. But I'm going to get caught up on chat. Go ahead, guys.
Well, I think kind of what you guys are saying, I think they still don't know what they have, whether it's a reboot or restart or whatever. I think that after the Bumblebee movie, they're still kind of like, is it this? Is it that? I think the executives don't have a definitive answer from that, because I think that somebody said this earlier, were like, I think it was Profit Director, were like, like the classified line and all this stuff is shown that nostalgia sells, right? Nostalgia is what's going to keep this going at the level they want to go. Sure, we're bringing in new fans and you can explore new characters and stuff like that. But there has to be a certain level of nostalgia to make this stick for any given amount of time. And that's with the media, the toys, and all that stuff, right? So, I think they still don't know what they're going to be. And I agree with you. I think Bay needs to keep his hands off of this, but I don't know how you do it at this point or whatever.
To answer Mark Cosplay's question there is a third party that did make a Megatron design from the Bumblebee movie. I forget how much it costs or even what it's called. I may have to Google it to find it for you, but there is one. Something that could make the movies better. When I think of the good stuff that was in 07, and I think of the few things that I liked about the rest of the movies, like what I could pick out of there, I feel like the one big thing that's missing, we killed a lot of people, but we didn't get epic fights that killed people, except when they killed Prime in the forest. And it was Prime against like 5 Decepticons.
I'll take you
They
all
took
on.
10 minutes of actual action to do that. What did we get when they killed Megatron? You know, not much. You
But
know,
yeah,
he
there
gets
was
the
meat.
Jetfire parts, flies off,
There was meat and
stabby,
potatoes
stabby.
with that force scene. Meat and potatoes galore.
Yeah, I
They
thought that was.
kill. Go ahead.
Now, I thought that was one of the three best killing scenes, three best scenes in all the Transformers. I thought that because that was humans done right? Like Prime taking them on because Shia LaBeouf had something they want or whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like how you can use a human in the correct way. I also thought when Sentinel, and I'm gonna go back to the Sentinel, Megatron, and Prime fought at the end, and like Prime, who are you without me? And Prime like, let's find out. And with the one arm, he takes on Megatron, and he kills Sentinel at the end. Like those are two kind of like definitive scenes for me for the Bayverse movie. And like I actually thought Lockdown and Prime fight in the third. Lockdown is one of the characters I thought was so dope, like so dope. And I wish they would explore him a little more or whatever, kept him around for another movie.
Yeah.
But like I did like that fight with him and Prime at the end, whatever. And the whole point of like he told Prime, you chose a human instead of your own. You bring pity to us all. You bring shame to us all or whatever. So like those are the ones that's the Transformers I want to see or whatever.
It's another instance, and we're gonna coin it. I'm gonna coin it because I said 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound bag when they just once again Lockdown, amazing. He was a main piece in that, but we want to see more. He was that good, right? So we're gonna call it the mashed. If I say it's mashed potatoes, bro, got to make mashed potatoes. But to be honest, I don't know if I like the idea of bagged mashed potatoes. Says Diamonds. So
put a straw in it.
Exactly, put a straw in it. Go ahead, there.
Yeah, the Lockdown fight with Prime, like they actually focused on those two fighting. Lockdown getting the best of Prime, and the humans helped. It wasn't them taking down Lockdown; they helped get Prime free.
Humans died.
And humans died.
Yes.
Prime battling Sentinel Prime, that was pretty decent. But then at the end, whenever Megatron's like, what would you be without me? And he basically whips his axe out, trips him, and rips his head off. Can you give me at least 5 to 7 more minutes of actual fighting before you did that? But
good fighting to where you can fucking see what's going on. Not them transforming a bunch, because that's hard to see. It's hard to see the details of this new stuff when they're transforming because there's so many moving parts. Give us some more good fighting scenes. I think they're combobulated and jumbled up between the explosions, the transformations. Transformation done right in a fight is badass. So, like if Megatron swings, like if he has a particular spear or whatever that may come out of his arm or whatever, or a gun or a fusion cannon, if he shoots you with that, and then he gets you back and you're falling, and then he transforms into a tank, and he rams you, and then he transforms again. You know what I'm saying? The transformations into the fight scenes can be done, but they're just combobulated, in my opinion.
A good example of what you're talking about, like a good fight scene like that, 07 movie when Prime transforms on the highway to battle Bone Crusher, and they're skating down the highway. He puts him in a headlock, whips out the sword right in the head and back out, and then transforms and goes. Like it's all caught, and you can see what happened.
Yeah. What's up, Curtis Schultz, man? Maybe you might want to check your YouTube notifications, bro. Yeah, we've been definitely talking some Transformers for a while, bro. That's what I'm saying. Bits and pieces, the mashed potatoes, the ADD. Stop. How many times have we been like, who's in that fight scene? Like robot cannon fodder. Which I think is needed to a certain degree, because sometimes I don't like it when there's only 5 character robots that they're trying to flesh out. With Cybertron's history in so many different eras and different Transformers, that's why it may need to go somewhere else where it's mostly robots. I can see like that discussion, you know what I mean? Because we're not getting into how many movies we had. Do you really feel like we're digging into any lore of Transformers? Or does it seem like a mess scattered about?
It feels very henpecked. I don't have a good way of saying this. Like for a 3-hour movie, you get like 20, 30 minutes of back lore, and they say just stuff happens off in space. in the past, and it's here on Earth. Something that most people don't know is IDW wrote a complete backstory in comics for the original 3 movies. The 07, why can I not remember that? Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon.
Dark of the Moon, yeah.
There is whole comic book series about exactly where Sector 7 came from, what happened with Bumblebee and Prime in the Cube, devious experiments with Thundercracker and Starscream tearing RC, Elita 1, and Chromia apart. And that's where they end up being triplets of the mind. Something that you probably don't even realize, but they were 3 individual bots. After Thundercracker got done experimenting on them, they were 3 bots with 3 personalities running off of a synchronous mind. One of them dies, they all 3 die. And that's why they were like the motorcycle sisters or whatever. There was a huge backstory to that.
There's something I want to touch base in. I think Dare may have wanted to say something, but let me touch base on this once I find the comment. So M3 says, see, there are all great reasons to like Michael Bay. We give a lot of them. We give several good pieces of what was good. But overall, the scatteredness, the messiness, do better. Okay? Are there great, like that 07 movie, we gave it props. But I'm never the person. You can do a couple things good, but there needs to be accountability. As many good things you've done, it seems like there's just 5 to 10 shit things you've done to negate the good shit you had. We talked earlier, 07 movie. It brought in a whole new group of fans. It needed to do that. It did well. They didn't execute much well after that. There are great pieces within any of them. I'm still glad at the end of the day they did the movies. Okay. But accountability means if you're not doing it good, do better. If you can't get it done, step aside and let somebody else do it so we can continue the brand instead of it just dying off or, falling into something that just, it's not what it is. So yes, there are all great reasons to like Michael Bay, but unfortunately there's a whole bunch more that kind of...
He didn't just do this with Transformers. I mean, he did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles too, right? Like he took that new set of movies and turned that into crap. And I'm not even the biggest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan. And so I think that like you can respect somebody for doing something, but not like how they did it or whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? You can take baseball. You could say, hey, Barry Bonds is the home run king or not, but you may not like he did steroids to get there or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can not, 2 things can be true at the same time or whatever. Like, yes, he helped maintain the franchise, even though he made crappy movies and maintaining the franchise, right? They both can be true. So
he does great at action, explosions, fast scenes, on the fly, everything. But
yeah,
it makes the whole movie like that. And if he was like co-directing, maybe where he handled like all the high speed stuff, all the action, but someone else kind of stepped in to handle some of the slower, more dramatic fights, could have been a great mix up.
Yeah. Or not even that, you have somebody write the story and like he inserts it when it's the action sequence. That's when you tag him in, like wrestling. Like he'll come in as the hot tag. We'll use wrestling terminology. He'll be the hot tag to come in and win the match for you. You know what I'm saying? And maybe somebody else takes the brunt of most of the match or whatever. So like
he just has too much direction. When we watch something so it was starting in 07. We're in 2023, basically. Okay. We're getting ready to pop 2023. What body of work have you done for the franchise over that whole time? So that's 10, that's 13, that's 16 years where Bay has had serious influence on the Transformers brand. That's not the person that you want. Did anybody realize that's 16 years? I don't know if anybody's realized how many years that is. You know what I mean? And when we watched at the beginning of the show, when we watched the reaction, all of us were like, that looks like Bay style. That looks like Bay style. If I do the same thing on my channel over and fucking over and fucking over, what do you think is going to happen? People are going to watch it. You have to evolve. You have to change your style. You have to give the people what they want. If you don't fucking do that, you die. That's what I'm saying. So I don't shit on it, but accountability and doing better needs to be a thing. Wouldn't we agree?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like if I don't like something Hasbro puts out, I'm not a Hasbro hater. I'm just like, you need to be accountable. So if you're working on cars or you're working with your hands or you're a welder and you don't do your job well and that semi trailer falls apart because you didn't weld good, even though you like the dude that did it, he still has to be accountable. True.
Yep.
So we had some other things we want to go to. Briag, what did you want to touch on? Okay, if
I feel
Derek,
like we got through a lot of it.
Okay, Derek, if you have something, I have a couple more things.
Go ahead, go for it, Pat.
Briag has kind of enlightened me on some of the Beast Wars history. I don't like the cartoon, I don't like the way it looks, but he's told me about how stories go with the cartoons. So I've started liking some things. Beast Wars Megatron, Transmetals Megatron, they're amazing. Why did we feel the need to keep Megatron out of this movie? Why did we have to go with a different version? Give me some history of Scourge, Briag, in Beast Wars. Was it RID mostly?
Scourge is RID.
Yeah.
And at least I'm glad that they didn't just make him a black Prime. They actually gave him his own design. However, regarding Megatron, they have not shown all the baddies in this movie yet. And it's rumored that Megatron will be there. So will Black Arachnia and Scorponok.
But not a Q. You don't give me the whole movie and then give me 5 minutes of Megatron. Fuck that, man.
Who knows?
He
may have a big impact on it. This could be an actual good trailer where they don't give it all away. Maybe. We'll see.
Right. So all I'm saying is, where's the direction? Why would you remove Megatron? Even if he's going to be in it for a little bit, why are you trying to pimp this Scourge guy who has no lore in Beast Wars to start with? Why? You're
Not
jumping
sure.
up.
Not sure. But
right.
They are mixing Beast Wars with G1. Well, not G1, just big robots.
Right?
They're mixing universes or yeah.
So I don't know. They've done a lot where they're mixing characters.
That's got to be handled when we haven't properly touched lore correctly. And once again, we're bouncing all over. Let's mix a whole bunch of universes and then stop it because it didn't do well and reboot it. That's the problem I have. Let's try to finish something. Let's try to make a story. Go ahead, Dare. I see you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, would you guys be? Let's say they play the long game in this. Would you guys be mad if Scourge was meant to be like a lockdown and like a bounty hunter or a tracker, and he's working for like a bigger bad, whether that bigger bad be Megatron, Unicron, whatever, and like you get hints of him in this movie, but like it's set up for him to be in another movie, like the real big bad. So like, would that offend you? Kind of like, because I thought one of the cool things in Bumblebee was that Megatron was not in that movie, but everybody was scared of Megatron throughout that whole movie, both the Autobots and the Decepticons. Like he loomed over that movie, even though he was never really in the movie. Like, would you be okay with that in this scenario? And Scourge being, hey, go hunt down Prime, or whichever one that he needs to get, hunt them all down. Would you be okay with that?
I myself wouldn't be good with that because once again, you're dangling. Megatron is the ultimate bad guy. Okay, he's ultimate brute force strength. I don't like him. He's there. He's giving the orders. Okay, you're letting me have the idea of him back there, but I don't get to see any of him. No, I wouldn't be good with that. Go ahead, Brad. Sorry.
I feel like this movie is still part of a litmus test of them deciding whether they want to go this way or back into the original this way. And yeah,
I agree with that. That's why I said earlier, like I still
respect and truth right there. Go ahead, Brad.
So I wouldn't be offended if they do more with Scourge. Great. If they write a good story for it, I hope they just don't kind of slap something together. And I've honestly, my personal preference is a reboot. Bumblebee in this movie, I would love it to not have anything to do with the other 5. Go ahead and start new. We have different writers. Bay is just a producer. Let's flesh out a new story, from scratch. So that means Scourge could have a bigger part that could lead to an all new Megatron, or like a really ultimate badass Megatron. I don't know. It's just, there's so much opportunity. And I just hope they don't ruin any opportunity they have, no matter which way they go.
But I agree with you. I think that Bumblebee still left them as kind of not knowing, to your point, which way to go. Like, I think it was just kind of a okay movie. Like, it was much better than kind of what Bay did. But like, I don't think they got their definitive answer from that movie on what to do. I think they got their definitive answer, but I don't think they want to go that way. The definitive answer is give us that G1's trailer, like you showed in the trailer. Give us a full movie of that, in that realm or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
I think
that 15 minutes of Bumblebee that was all Cybertron.
Yeah,
I was really hoping that was the whole movie. Like, I want all that. I'm all.
And I think that's the answer that they're getting. Like, hey, this is what the fandom wants. But I don't think they want to, for whatever reason. I don't think they want to take the franchise in that direction.
Yeah. Mark Cosplay says the most heartbreaking thing that could happen if someone directed a GoBots live action movie and be everything we want in a Transformers movie. That's some stuff to think about, but it's interesting. Megatron gets all the credit, says Curtis Schultz. I just don't think you should be wasting time when you have marquee players. Let's not let our heavyweight champion go. Let's just keep him in the background. He's there. He's in the backstage. We make mention of him on the mic every now and then, right? Okay, but we're not showcasing him. Fuck that, man. Put the main A-listers on that shit. Hit people where it's at. You know what I mean? That's what I feel.
Wrestling before the Attitude Era. That's how they should do, right? Like, the Attitude Era, you got to see the champion on Monday night on the regular shows or whatever, and they took them to a new level. So maybe the same thing here. Bring in all your heavyweights and then write the story around it and go from there, right?
I just want to agree with DFS. I really do think the Beast Wars story is one of the best written.
I'm coming around to that. I mean, why do you think Transmetal's Megatron is because like that Xing Zhang Wing Dragon is like, it's in my top 5, man. It's Megatron. Megatron as a dragon. Come on, man. Caden says, what are we talking about here? We're talking about Transformers. At the beginning of the show, we did the first 20 minutes or whatever. We watched the new trailer for Rise of the Beast, and we paused it, commented on it, and now we're talking basically Transformers, the direction that we feel they've done, the direction we would like to see maybe they would do, the positives that they've done with this franchise, and some of the things they need to work on. And like I said, as animated as I get about wanting to see the stuff we need, I will tell you, I can watch 07 and still get chills when you first see Optimus, when you first see Jazz, right? It's a movie, even to this day, sometimes we'll watch it as we go to bed, just toss it in. It gives you a very comfortable feeling. So yes, some really good shit, but not enough in those first 5. Was that all? I thought there was something else. Let's see. Yeah, Pop the Trunk says regarding the Beast Wars story, really good. Yes, badass story. So what are you guys hoping for from this? Because when I watched the Bumblebee movie with my first reaction with the second movie. Damn.
Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah, so my reactions for the first movies, the first one was through the roof. The second one was nah. Watched it second times and I found good meat in it, right? But still, the third one, irritated, but wow moments with certain things. AOE, wow moments with the first 2 hours. Really irritated with the last part. TLK, got nothing on it. Bumblebee was a complete no emotion for me. I watched it and I just feel like this just doesn't. I had no reaction. I'm like, this just feels like a boring movie to me. So, what do you guys want to see with the direction and hope that happens with this franchise going forward?
Go ahead, Dare.
Yeah, we'll say the best for last. We'll say Briag for last. I agree with you, Pat. Pretty much everything you said about those first movies and Bumblebee. The only difference I'll say is that I thought the one with Sentinel Prime, the third one was really good. Like I liked the first one and the third one really good. What I want from this movie is kind of like Briag said, to just make a choice. Like if we're going to reboot it. If not. If it's going to be a standalone movie, maybe something in the way of Marvel, how they did the Infinity Wars kind of saga. Like if this going to be a beginning of us crossing worlds and kind of bridging timelines and stuff like that, then do it at a deliberate pace so we can have multiple movies. Don't try to squeeze everything into one movie and then it comes off as a whole bunch of like what the F was this or whatever. Like if you're going to be deliberate, if you're going to do this, do it the right way, be deliberate, keep it small characters, like 3 or 4 Autobots, 3 or 4 Manimals, and then tell that story and go from there. So that's it. Just a slow, well thought out story with some key action. So I think they did a decent job visually. Just, improve on that stuff. So
I'd say that being selfish, I want it to be a reboot. I want it to go ahead and just cut with the other 5 movies, cut with any of the comics that went with those 5 movies, so we don't know any prequel besides those 15 minutes we saw on Bumblebee. Keep a consistent lore, keep consistent character building. And I know people are kind of up in the air of whether they did or did not like the MCU, but I really liked how they did the characters and stories, even if they changed some of their powers and stuff. Build the characters like that and lead up into an epic fight, because I'll be here for the next 20 years. So I'm okay with waiting to get that kind of movie. And that's what I'd like to see.
And that's why I said the Infinity War saga, I think you can kind of use that as a blueprint, especially the last one. What was the last one? Endgame, where they kind of went back in time and then brought back everybody from different parts. I think you can use kind of that to kind of
that's what I'm getting at. Let's see. I just think it would be nice to see how the Bayverse end. Before I go, Caden says, I just think it would be nice to see how the Bayverse end. I think you hit the nail on the head. This era started in 2007. Still going. We think it's still going. Anytime Bay's involved with it, it's still going. But anyway, MCU started in 2008. What has the MCU done differently to make people want to keep coming back as opposed to this? We're going to go for the same amount. Now, to me, my personal preference is MCU has gotten very dull here in the past like 3-4 years, but it's been fire. I've enjoyed it because they've woven stories within each other. They've stayed concentrated, and overall you get one huge massive story. They started a year later than Transformers. Has Transformers even thought about it's so MCU is one whole story basically, right? It's like Star Wars. You can start somewhere. It's got a start point. It's got a shit ton of time points and continuity that all go together, whatever, right? It's just been a mix and mess of random fucking shit, nothing tied together, and they've had plenty of time. You got to hold your feet to the fire. MCU has been able to do those movies. Transformers has not. What if they could have kept these stories woven in that, it'd have been fire. Keep it going, but it's just been concentrated on stuff that really doesn't matter with a story. Explosions, comedy.
completely agree. I think that if you think about the MCU up until 2020, it was all based around the Infinity Stones. And that wasn't a very long book or whatever. Like that series, that comic, that wasn't a very involved, very long comic. You can go read that, and it's very kiddie. They just added kind of mature comics, and they even took some of the key components out of it, right? So the point I'm making with that is they could take a Transformer episode. It could be something simple as the Ultimate Doom or whatever, right? And just build that whole story around it. You can do movies, you can do single shot, one shots, you can do episodes, you can do character focused episodes, and you can get to that same story if you just do deliberate, slow pace and everything else or whatever, right? Like you said,
we're reacting to DFS's comment.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at what DFS said. I completely agree with it. But like, you can have all this stuff, and like you said, the MCU, you can have everything, and you can even have these side characters who don't matter have their own movie. Like the Bumblebee movie could tie it into a bigger space. You could have a series with Perceptor or something. It could tie into this whole big, hey, what's the Ultimate Tomb going? But you got to think that stuff out. You got to have it planned. You can't just give some madman who was great at shooting a Bad Boys movie. You can't give him ultimate power.
They chose the wrong guy.
Like, you have to have good, like Brad said, you have to have good lore. That's what's going to sell all this stuff. That's what sold the MCU, right? You came back because it was telling a bigger story, and you want to know how each piece fit into the puzzle or whatever. So Star Wars the same way, right? The bigger story is what matters in Star Wars, and those key parts of how you get to the bigger story. So like, I think Transformers never has gotten that way, and I hope somebody in the franchise does that, just looks at the big picture. So sorry about that.
Hire the comic book writers, and we'll make a movie out of what they make. Because they did a great job with the movie prequels and the whole IDW, the first IDW series. I haven't read the second one. But yeah, plan the whole thing, or at least give us the arc. It's kind of like that episode of South Park when they're all being superheroes and like, yeah, we got to plan our own movies. And they've even got this giant chalkboard up of every movie and what year it comes out for what Tupperware and the mosquito and stuff like that.
Yeah, before we go on, I want to go ahead and rep a couple things here. Please go ahead and check out Dare 2727's YouTube channel. If you like, I do everything. I do G.I. Joe, Hot Wheels, I do Transformers, wrestling, everything. Dare has amazing content. If you're looking for Transformers content, go hit him up. He's a very versatile, professional guy. Every time I have him on the show, he's very professional. He's very articulate. It comes through in this channel. Guys, please go over there. Hit that link for him, man. He does a series called To MP or Not to MP. I don't know if you sewed it up. I knew you were thinking about sewing that series up, but it just gets you thinking. The first time I came across him, Big Stan said, hey, man, go check out my man Dare. So I went over there, and he had an opinion that I didn't. I liked the format. I like how he talked. He kind of said something I didn't agree with. I just put in the chat. We had a very respectful conversation. We didn't beef. We became friends through that. That's how the fuck you do this shit, guys. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be Chevy versus Toyota. You don't have to be fucking G1 versus fucking Bayvers. Motherfucking Beast Wars versus G1. No, fuck you. You don't have to be that way, bro. Stop it. Stop with that stuff. But there's a guy who brings that, and I appreciate it. Go subscribe to him.
Oh man, thank you guys. My channel just, I got all love for Transformers. Marto Franco, both Autobots and Decepticons, but I love all Transformers. If you like Transformers, man, we got something in common. You cool with me or whatever. We may not agree on anything else in the world, but we agree on that. So,
That's right. And please, you can. So I'm gonna bring up something else because I think it's worth bringing up. So if you guys got anything small to bring up, why I search for this real quick. I gotta get another shout out, but I gotta find it. But everything, go ahead.
So just regarding this particular movie, some of the things that are rumored, and nobody knows if it's actually true, but some of the characters that are rumored to come in, and maybe they're just toys. They may not even be in the movie, but Beast Wars Megatron, Black Arachnia, Scorponok, Terrorsaur, Dinobot, and there was one other one that we didn't even see in any of the previews. So if those are actually true, that gives me hope that they didn't just throw everything good about the movie in the preview and we're not going to get much of anything else.
Brad, while Pat looking that up, would what would be a huge disappointment if this character wasn't in the movie? Who would you be extremely disappointed in if this particular character wasn't in the movie?
I think it's going to depend on how they portray the character, because if it's me personally, it would hurt really bad if Dinobot didn't show up in the movie at some point, and that's all just me thinking of Dinobot and how he was in the original Beast Wars. But I think ultimately, probably Beast Wars Megatron, because you can't have Primal without Megatron.
Yes.
And it just feels like he needs to be doing something behind the scenes, pulling the strings to make Scourge and other Terracons do whatever they're doing. So I would like to see at least Megatron show up.
Okay.
Real quick, shout out to Too Many Figures, bro. Too Many Figures is a great guy, bro. Thank you for stopping in. He is a guy who's really good with his hands. He does paintings. I do believe he does some customs. I do believe, but he paints some stuff, and he's a really great guy, man. He is he has an Instagram channel. Go check him out as well. But go ahead and finish your conversation before I do it. If you're not done.
Oh, I would just for me, I would think kind of Dinobot. Like I would be fine if like Megatron was just a big bad who was like sending Scourge, and like you just saw one scene where you like go get him or whatever. But I think Dinobot has to be in there, even if it's just for a second, right? Even if he's just looking at Megatron, like I'll slap the mess out of you if I have to. You know what I'm saying? Like just even if it's one of those like post-credit type things or whatever, like just having like I think he has to show his face in there at some point or whatever. I would be disappointed if he didn't or whatever. So
it would be a bit interesting if they ended this movie kind of like they ended, I forget which one of the MCUs, where like it just pans out and Thanos is now behind the whole thing because it shows Thanos.
Yeah.
Well, if it showed like Beast Wars Megatron, Dinobot still as a Predacon, because I would hope for him to start as a Predacon, then move to being a Maximal, and maybe Pterosaur or something. I don't know, something like that, just so we know that whatever's coming, Beast Wars are still involved, and that would still give me a lot of hope that they're moving in a different direction instead of retconning.
Riyadh, can I ask you one question not related to movies?
Hey, we have him on. We have him on right now, so that's why you're getting hit, bro. A lot of people want to talk to you, man.
Yeah, I just want to ask you one question. I did a video a few months ago about my top 5 Transformers fiction, and IDW is my number 1 by far of Transformer media ever. Can you give like 5 books or something to recommend on this channel, just so we have it, so like the people in the chat, because a lot of people aren't as up on IDW as I think they should be or whatever. Not nobody specifically, but like, can you just give out like 5 recommendations that they can read to kind of
before he gives those recommendations out? Let me segue into what I want to do, and then you'll see why I'm segueing. Okay, so on my channel, we do a thing. It's a group called IDW. It's me, Briag, Ramrod, M3, Sardo. It's all part of the IDW group. And it's basically, and most of the time it's me, Briag 45, and Ramrod. We go through and we completely review the comics, the IDW 2005 to 2010 comic series continuity. And it takes a lot of work to them. But even though it's on my channel and it sounds like I'm pimping my own damn self, you guys have to hear what Briag 45 and Ramrod have to say about this stuff. You won't look at these comics the same way again. I mean, it's like a walking encyclopedia. These guys know their shit. We try to bring out as many as we can, but they take a lot of work, guys. So please give them a check. If nothing for else, it's not to pimp myself. It's to hear what they have to say. Go ahead. And it's right here. If you want to check it out, I got the link in the chat up a little bit. Go in and check that playlist out, man. I think you'll like it. You'll see it evolve. We kind of started doing it. We were doing it live. Now we kind of we edit them. But go ahead, Brian.
I would say first and foremost, I would always recommend reading Megatron Origin. All 4 of them. Just call it one book, a trade paperback. If you really want to dive in and see a depth to Megatron where he starts out as a miner who gets mistreated, I mean, basically, it's like the societal class against the working class. and you see a rise up, and you want to see a lot of parallels to our current situations, that's the book for you. And plus, it gives you a whole new dimension of Megatron. And then I would tell you to read All Hell Megatron, because it shows you the absolute worst where Megatron went from being I would say an ideologue in the beginning. You know, he was all about passive, peaceful protest. And then in All Hell Megatron, he's committing genocide on the human race and Autobots. Anything that's between that, I would tell you to read some of the spotlights that focus on a single character. One of my favorites particularly is RC, because she is brutal and nasty and not like any RC that you have ever known.
Could you imagine seeing her in the live action? I think the whole basis of what they should move Transformers to, somebody needs to go in and look at those books and say, I'm going to take direction from this story arc. Go ahead.
Yep.
Sorry.
Spotlight Shockwave for the people that are hardcore Marvel, because the Marvel beginning of Shockwave with him coming to the planet, destroying the dinosaurs, stuff like that, that's all part of Spotlight Shockwave as well. And I think they would see some of the same of what they liked about Marvel in IDW through that comic. That would probably cover about 5, I would think, somewhere about there.
And I wanted to kind of give Briag, because Briag's not on Instagram. I give him some feedback when people talk. I hear this a lot, and it's not just toward me. Mark Cosplay always messages me and tells me how much he loves our show, Briag. Ramrod, I talked to him earlier. He could not make it tonight. He said he was going to try to watch this on the rebound. If he does, I mean, you guys, there's a lot of people that just appreciate what you do. And we know DFS, our brother, he said, yep, my favorite show on YouTube. He made a little like post one time, and he mocked up like who all 3 of us would be as Transformers. So there's a lot of people out there, Briag, that really appreciate what you bring and what you do, man. That's why I said you're going to get hit with questions from people, because people hear you, you know, and they see you every now and then, but they don't get to talk to you every now and then. So
I like the DFS changed his icon to the White Ranger, you know, respect to JDF.
Yeah. So anymore. I would have liked to got into the cast voicing, but we're an hour and a half, and I know the constraints of my fellow people on here. I know Briag, he's my brother. Briag's my brother. Dare's my brother. I know Briag likes to go to bed early.
I'm an old man.
Hey, he's part of the Old Man Rivers crew. But for anybody that don't know why he's here, here's how 3 Live Stream was invented. From the very beginning, I met Briag from Transform War 2005. Then I was introduced to Ramrod, because those 2 are friends. All right. So we all hang out together. And I kept talking about, man, I'd like to do a YouTube channel. And they were supportive of it. I'm like, hey, can I go up? I can blow up stuff in your backyard, Briag? He's like, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to ask my wife. But and then right after that, I got to be able to discover M3 Reviews, channel like you've never known. He doesn't care about what YouTube says you should or shouldn't do. He's just a real person and brings it to you real. I had the opportunity to get to know him and meet him, and everything from there. Those 2 interactions just took everything off. You know, and then getting to meet Big Stan. So those are big pivotal moments that created everything I do. Without Briag 45, without Ramrod, without M3, nothing of this would have happened. None of y'all have gotten here in the King of Lore in action. I don't even remember
making up my own lore.
You need to start making adult comic books, Briag. I think you have it in you.
Maybe the writing part. I
can't draw.
It's not my art style. I just did real still life art. So I'm not good at comic art.
M3 says, Pack is gay for all you that couldn't tell. Yes, I'm gay. That's all gay, bro.
Marco probably high as F right now. I be getting them at 1 in the morning. no text. The YouTube messages high as F. I'm like, it's on the M3 in there. So
Love
shout out
Cheetos
to
Puffs,
M3
Caden.
solid, man. He's solid as they come. So shout out to him.
We're gonna take one more. We got to take one more for a guy here. So Caden, this is the first time I've seen Caden on my channel, so I definitely want to give him shine. And everybody that comes in, man, we want to try to give him as much shine as we can. But he says, here's a random question before we get out of here. Do y'all like Cheetos Puffs? Hey, we talk about all kinds of shit, bro. So Cheetos Puffs are okay. It's the orange. And then my mouth is really like burning and dry because there's a lot of sodium in them damn things.
Yep, but they're good.
If you want to get into a food discussion, this guy got some concoctions down here, bro. Fuck, dude, you talk about frying up a Pop-Tart in a skillet with a stick of butter.
It's delicious.
Oh my god! I'm gonna die thinking about that. I might have to do the Briag challenge one time on game day. I might have to try one. I might not make it out alive, but
We give you a coronary.
oh my lord! All right, Dare, go ahead and take the people. Go ahead and tell people we're gonna end this. I'll have last words, but go ahead. We'll get out of here.
Oh, thank you for having me on, Pat. What you want me to say? Where to find me or whatever? Hello. Did you want me to say where to find me at or whatever?
You decide whatever you want to say, man. Whatever you want to say.
Oh, well, I appreciate you having me on. Food porn is the best. Shout out to everybody. You can find me on YouTube, Dare2727. I do a monthly Transformers video. Again, I love being on, and shout out to Chat Squad. You guys kept it pumping this time. So, Briag, nice to meet you also.
You too, buddy.
Hey, matchmaker. Marco says I'm gay. Matchmaker. It's all about me trying to introduce new people to new people. So
Diamonds knows what's up. He fries them, Pop-Tarts and butter.
God. Oh, I'm trying. Diamonds is going to be coming to a Hot Wheels like live diecast live stream. I'm just not going to get that pumped out till next year. It's just too much going on around holidays, but hopefully it should be coming to the channel too. So there's a big one. I'll get to find out, is Diamonds a chick or is he a dude? Go ahead, Briag.
Hell, I don't know what to say.
No,
you can't find me anywhere because I don't do social media or anything.
Oh, you do freaking Reddit like a sumbitch, bro.
Yeah, that's reading though. Just read whatever's
God.
on there. But other than that, no, I don't do Instagram, Twitter, or any of that. I mean, the only thing I've got on Facebook is just the buy, sell, trade Transformers.
Oh, I don't think you answered. You might have, but
see, hey Briok, what do you? I missed it, brother. Autobot or Decepticon? I have pretty much always leaned Autobot. I mean, there are some really good Decepticons out there, but I've leaned mostly Autobot.
Yes.
Don't listen to him, bro.
I am Destron. Ever since I started as an adult, I was always the Japanese stuff, like Sam says in the Transformers, the first movie in 07, he says, they gotta be from Japan or something. He says something like that. So ever since, I was just always, because it used to be different from the stuff we got. So I was like, I'm a Destron, which is a Decepticon, but that's what I am. Yep. But definitely want to say thank you to everybody. I want to say big thank you to Dare2727, Briag45. I got to hang out with some friends today, and that's pretty awesome, pretty dope. It was a rough weekend, and it's ending up a little lighter, a little more fun. And don't forget, there's going to be an after party, and I'm going to get drunk on this one. So don't miss it. Don't miss it. If you know me, maybe you get a link, maybe you don't. But you can catch me and M3 over there tonight. But like I said, I do this because I want to meet more people. I wanted to give the opportunity for people to meet other people. And I'm blessed to be able to hang out with y'all in the chat. There's some of y'all in the chat, Curtis Schultz, M3 Reviews. Zeta TF, Diamonds, Mark Cosplay, Pop the Trunk, Profit Director, DFS. If I say your name twice, don't trip on it, bro. That just means you got up on YouTube twice. Moto Frank, what's up, homie? You know my brother. What's going on, man? We got Big M, big ups and big shout outs to Emmett, Big M, Big Stan, Mark Cosplay. What's up to Caden? I hope I'm saying that name right. And I'm trying not to miss anybody, but it only goes back. So too many figures. Don't ever miss out on his Instagram. He's got hella good shit. Jeezy Crazy, bro. What's up? One time. I know where you are, bro. One time we gotta kick it, man. Let's see. I think
Profit Director, it's Cobra. Storm Shadow's my favorite.
I love Profit Director, man. I don't collect anything outside of Transformers and wrestling, and like his channel is so good to me. So sorry to cut you off, Pat.
You're good, man. Cobra Viper, huge shout out to Viper. You can also check us out on Hump Day. We do a G.I. Joe live stream where we just chop it up about everything G.I. Joe toys. He's an encyclopedia when it comes to G.I. Joes as well. For the most part, none of us know everything about every toy line, but there's a lot of us who are smart. Super Robot Ed, dude, don't trip on him. I don't have his link, but his YouTube name is Super Robot Ed. Go check him out. He's got great Transformer content as well. MC DJ, what's up to MC? He was in the chat. I think that's going to round it off. And with that being said, we're going to make like a baby, head out. No. But just be
Make
cool.
like a tree and get the fuck out of here.
It's leave. But with that being said, everybody, just be cool. Do good things for other people. And we're going to be out. Peace. Stick around, y'all.